A lot of the people around here are concerned about the quality of the water that they swim in and surf in and row over and all that. And there's a couple of issues that are interesting. One of them is the runoff from land. If you have a big rainstorm, dog poop and all that stuff gets in the gutters, ends up in the ocean, coliform bacterial levels skyrocket, people get infections. A lot of my students complain about eye infections or sinus infections because after rain you don't really want to go in the ocean for a few days. It sorts itself out.
Back in January this year, my buddy Graham, he was surfing here in Long Beach. You know, there's like once in 92 and once in this year. Otherwise, people don't surf here. But anyways, he was surfing in January of this year, 2010, and he said the waves were, you know, okay, pretty fun, great for Long Beach, but he got the worst sinus infection he had ever had, and he surfed San Gabriel River mouth all the time. So it's pretty toxic.
Going out on a really bad day. It was just a couple days after a rainstorm. You're not supposed to go out in the ocean after the first rain of the season because all the trash from the streets washes into the ocean. So the water quality was pretty bad, but the waves were good, so I went out surfing anyway, and just really linked to that particular day. Just a few days later, I got a really bad ear infection, you know, one of the worst ones that I've ever had. I wound up going into the doctor for it, and they told me that it's just basically never going to go away. Since I keep my ears pretty clean and wash them out, the infection isn't so bad. It's basically in remission, but it's sort of a permanent thing that we're doing to the ocean, more or less.
I remember going back when the El Nino hit. I remember seeing the Seal Beach Pier fall. You know, that we just watched it collapse, and there was chunks of the pier actually floating into the parking lot. The waves came up. I've been in the water. Yeah, it's sad to say that I've seen things down in Doheny Beach. A couple of times I got dragged out to Seal Beach, the breakwater there. Not one of my better places to surf because things come out of the river, you know. My friend Jim goes, yeah, you know, hey, that's a good spot to surf because the water is warm. I go, you know why the water is warm? Because all that pee's running from LA down to the ocean. And he kind of stopped, you know. He goes, hey man, I don't think I'm gonna go back there, man. Boats go in and out of the harbor, you know, and again, that's adding pollution. They're doing that in Kauai nowadays. They water ski up and down, you know, beautiful, pristine Honolulu River. And I go, man, I can't believe here we are kayaking, here comes the freaking boats with the jet water skiers, you know.
One of the problems we have living along the edge of the ocean is that there's a lot of runoff from land that ends up in the ocean. Some of it's natural, like sand coming from the high mountains, and some of it's unnatural, like bits of plastic or fertilizers that can influence the near zone coastal growth of things like planktonic plants. One of the reasons why that's a problem is because a natural amount of nutrient will allow those plants to do natural things, but if you encourage them with runoff fertilizers, say from crops and things of that sort, those plants go out of control, and they become so numerous, the volume of them is so great, that at night they use up all the available oxygen in the water, and that kills organisms around. And there's a little crab called Pleuron codes, which looks like about a thumb-sized combination of a shrimp and a lobster that floats around in the upper planktonic layers, and at night, up in the northern part, say off the coast of Oregon and Washington, Northern California, there's been a mass mortality of those lately because of urban runoff. And you wouldn't think that that would be bad because more plants would be more for them to eat, and that's true, except at night they run out of oxygen and they die. That happens also in this area of Southern California in enclosed waterways. Naples, a section of Long Beach, is famous for that. A couple of times every summer there's a tremendous die-off, a stinking, reeking mess of die-off of the mussels and other filter feeders in Naples because of the enrichment in that area on plants and planktonic plants. Not fun.
Luckily, there are organizations of heroes like Heal the Bay and the Surfrider Foundation, whose efforts help to improve ocean conditions and the quality of life for all living beings. Heal the Bay and Surfrider hold beach cleanups on a regular basis and work on numerous projects with the aim of restoring the environment to its natural state. One such project seeks to improve the ocean water quality in Long Beach, California.
The Surfrider Foundation is an international nonprofit organization dedicated to the restoration of waves and protection of waves for all people. In Long Beach, we have a breakwater that blocks the waves from coming to shore. There's 3 breakwaters. There's one that protects the Port of Los Angeles. It's called the San Pedro Breakwater. There's one that protects the Port of Long Beach. That's called the Middle Breakwater. And there's one that protects Long Beach and keeps the waves coming to the shore in Long Beach. That's called the Long Beach Breakwater. Our concept is to remove the Long Beach Breakwater and leave the other 2 in place. Because we like the commerce, we like the industry, we like for people to have jobs and incomes and be able to support themselves. It's just that the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach aren't using the Long Beach Breakwater. That one just blocks waves from getting to the shore of Long Beach. The Long Beach Breakwater was built between 1942 and 1949. It was there was long-term plans for it even at the turn of the previous century, but the actual funding came right at the beginning of World War II, right before Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Congress was clamoring for a deep water port in order to provide a port of refuge here in Long Beach, and they wanted to put a Navy base in. So they got the emergency funding as part of World War II. These were emergency funding packages. The Navy started construction, and the Army Corps of Engineers finished building it in 1949 after the war. And the Navy had a facility here in Long Beach, and they did a lot of ship works and anchorage. And when they left in '95, they left the breakwater in place. And it turns out we don't really need it and we don't appreciate it. We'd like to see it go. And we want to be a beach town. We want to have tourists. We want to have people in bikinis. We want Hollywood to make the next Baywatch right here in Long Beach. Around 1905, the turn of the previous century, Long Beach was a tourist mecca. There was a lot of people that would come and keep their summer homes on the beach. And then it became kind of more of a year-round kind of place. And when surfing was brought to California, Long Beach was kind of the focal point of that. There was Malibu and there was Long Beach. And they called Long Beach the Waikiki of California. They had the first and the second national surfing championships right here in Long Beach. Duke Kahanamoku brought surfing to Southern California, and it really hit home here in Long Beach. They have pictures of people surfing the LA river mouth right out here. And after they built the breakwater, all those young guys, the surfers, went off to fight the war, went off to World War II. And when they came back, surfing was done in Long Beach. They had to go elsewhere. And when people come in nowadays from Ohio or Kansas or wherever, they come to Long Beach and they think Southern California, think Long Beach. They go to a convention here, and the first thing they ask is, where's the waves? Where do you go for waves? And the people behind the counter, the secretaries, the concierge, the waiters, they say, oh, you have to go to Huntington for that, or you have to go to Malibu or Manhattan Beach for that, and take your money with you, by the way, when you go over there. So there's a lot of different benefits to bringing waves back to Long Beach, and I'll just go through them and then get into them a little bit more. We expect increased tourism, increased commerce, improved water quality, and then just to change the perception of what Long Beach is, and not to mention home prices and rental values. So what kind of impacts to tourism would happen? Well, the Army Corps and the City of Long Beach just completed a reconnaissance study about this project, and they figured with the maximum wave introduction, or the biggest restoration, the biggest benefits they get would be around $52 million a year in increased commerce. And that would be through, you know, everything from surfboard sales to hotel stays, increased tourism, increased use of the convention center, you know, people driving their cars, eating out to dinner, everything that's associated with tourism in general. So $52 million a year from that, plus not to mention people who rent homes or sell homes or purchase homes. Long Beach has, you know, pretty good real estate market, but compared to neighboring cities, we could come up. There's room to expand. I myself rent a house 8 blocks from the beach, and right now the market, I advertise and I say it's a nice clean house, this many bedrooms, whatnot. But if the breakwater were down and we had waves on Long Beach, I would say walk to beach, and that would be a selling point. So there's the economic aspects of getting rid of the breakwater, and there's also the aspects of health and enjoyment of life for the people who actually live right here. There was a study done, a survey done by the Press-Telegram, a local newspaper, and they asked Long Beach residents, what's your favorite beach? And they came down, the favorite beach of people who live in Long Beach was Bolsa Chica, followed by Huntington Beach and Seal Beach, and then 2 other beaches, and then Long Beach wasn't even in the top 5. So people who live here go elsewhere for their recreational activity. What we'd like to see is waves in Long Beach, improved water quality, and all the people who live all over Long Beach hopping on the bus and coming down and recreating and exercising and enjoying themselves right here where they live. We think that would be great, and I'd love to see it myself. I'd move back to my old place, 8 blocks from the beach, and ride my bike to the beach and go swimming and surfing right here in Long Beach. I could even surf on the way home from work off my bike.